Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here, and today I am back with a video that I promised. I am in a classic rock band now that I've joined a few months ago, and I've tried out 6 different keyboards with this classic rock band so that I can report to you my findings on the different keyboards that I tried in terms of being in a classic rock band or any other cover band or even original band. So, in alphabetical order, the keyboards that I tried was the Casio Privia PX350, the Casio Privia PX-5S, the Kawai MP7, the Korg Kronos, the Kurzweil Artis SE, and the Kurzweil Forte. All right, so two of the best also happen to be at the top pricing tier, and those two are the Korg Kronos and the Kurzweil Forte. Now, for the exact same reasons that these two happen to be the best, there are two other reasons that counter why I won't use those. So let's go into why they're the best first. The Kurzweil Forte and the Korg Kronos. They're both big. They're huge. And because of the keyboard layout, to the left of the keys, you've got the pitch bend and the modulation wheels instead of above the keys. And because it's to the left, it lengthens the keyboard so much that it won't fit into the back seat of my car or most any other car. So, if you want to transport this in your car, you basically have to fold down the front passenger seat and put it in diagonally so that it goes between the front passenger seat and the rear seat behind the driver's side, which is a bummer because now you cannot take a passenger with you. And you got other equipment you got to transport too. So for those two reasons, even though those are the absolute best gigging keyboards, in my opinion, I won't use them because of that length, that size. They're both around the same weight, they're around 50 pounds, somewhere around there. But the Korg Kronos with that touchscreen and especially a feature that they have that's set list, wow, I can do so much with that set list. Not only can I set up everything in advance for any song or whatever, I can make notes to myself as well. You know, where to come in and so on and so forth. Those notes are invaluable. And I can even make the fonts big, small, whatever. That Korg Kronos, and especially when you go into combi mode, you can layer up to 16 sounds. So great keyboard. Korg Kronos, one of my favorites for gigging, but because of that long length and the size, out. Kurzweil Forte, that's the next one that's one of the best for gigging, but also because of that long size, out. But you cannot beat that. The Kurzweil Forte is so easy to use. The splits and layers are real easy to set up. And if you're using a tone wheel organ or anything like that, the 9 organ stops, you've got 9 sliders for that. And I can't find really a better organ than what that Kurzweil Forte offers. Really good. But again, those top two of the line, the most expensive and the longest. And because of that length, out for me. So when you've got that kind of weight, to add that kind of length, it's not going to cut it for me. All right, the next two, let's go to the Casio series. And I tried the PX-5S and the PX350. Now the PX-5S is getting a lot of press. It's getting a lot of good reviews, and I can see why. All right, now as a solo pianist, that PX-5S will work great for me. In a band context, well, especially in a classic rock band, which is a cover band. It doesn't work that great for me as its counterpart, the PX350, also from Casio. And here's the reason why. The PX5S is great if you're into synthesizers or sound design or sound engineering, but as far as doing like splits on the fly, which I need to do a lot, we're I hate to, you know, boast myself in the band, but basically we can play just about anything, even if we've never played it before. But when we do stuff like that, as a keyboardist, I need to be able to do splits on the fly. And I can do that with the PX350. I can't do that with the PX5S. If you want to do splits with the PX5S, you better do it either during the break or more commonly, set it up ahead of time because there's no way you're going to do that on the fly in real time. It's going to take a few minutes to set up splits. That's one thing. The second thing is I like to bring my notes with me, um, my scribbles, all that kind of stuff, and I like to put that on a music rest. The PX350 comes with a music rest. The PX5S does not come with a music rest. In fact, you can't even get a music rest for it. If you're going to bring the PX5S with you on a gig and you need somewhere to put your scribbles or your notes or your music or whatever, you need to bring a separate keyboard or a separate music stand with you, which sort of defeats the purpose of having a portable piano because now you're bringing two things instead of one. So the PX350 is much better for that. So when I'm gigging with this band, I will choose the 350 every time over that 5S. And even though both of those have the exact same key bed, the exact same key feel, and they're both 24 pounds and they're both plastic, which helps make it 24 pounds as opposed to metal and wood and that kind of thing. The PX350 would be my choice over there. Okay, so of the four I've covered so far, the Kronos and the Forte, just too long, too big, too heavy. Even though if you had roadies and stuff like that, that would be great. That would be my choice. PX5S and PX350. PX350 is my choice. Now, the PX350 also has a built-in amp and speakers. It's not very powerful, but if you're doing kind of like an unplugged or an acoustic gig where you're with a guitar player and a singer, those built-in speakers can act as your onstage monitors. But when you're with a classic rock band or a cover band like I am, that's not going to fly. You won't hear yourself. Okay. And that leaves two more keyboards. That leaves the Kawai MP7 and the Kurzweil Artis SE. Now, the Kurzweil Artis SE is sort of a light version of the Artis. It's your basic bread and butter keyboard. It's got everything you need, and it's great. Everything is big on that, the big sliders and everything. But if you're going to do a tone wheel organ on that, instead of the 9 stops, you've only got control of 4. So, and it's not up to you which 4 you've got control of. It's whatever preset you've picked. And you know, it's okay. I could get by with that. But I also, in my cover band, need access to the general MIDI sound set. Things like ocean waves, a recorder instead of like a flute, and other things that come with standard general MIDI sound set. It does not support general MIDI. So that's out for me. Now, as far as a music rest, which I'm big on, you can buy one, it's optional. All right? And you cannot buy one for the PX5S, Casio Privia, and you can't buy one for the Korg Kronos. You're on your own as far as those two models are concerned. The last one is the Kawai MP7, and since I'm mentioning tone wheel organ, you can get to all 9 organ stops on the Kawai in real time. You got 4 sliders that can control the first 4 organ stops. Then you got 4 knobs that can control the next 4, and you've got a set of buttons, plus and minus, that can control the 9th one. So you've got control of all 9 real time right in front of you. It comes with a music rest, so no problem there. Something I really appreciate. And as far as the 256 sounds that come built in, it also has, and you can check another video of mine that I demonstrate how you get to an additional 128 sounds on that Kawai MP7. Those 128 sounds are a built-in the chassis general MIDI sound set. So really, instead of the advertised 256 sounds, you got 384. Now, as far as the key beds on all of those, the Kawai MP7 and the Casio Privia are triple sensor technology. All the rest are dual sensor. So you got a lot more control about playing like trills and fast repetitions and that sort of thing. But if you look at some of my other videos, you'll find that the Kawai handles that better. The Kawai also has ivory coated key tops. They call that ivory feel. Feels really good. And in fact, of all the 6 pianos that I listed, the Casio Privia series, one of the best feeling keypads out there. But when you can compare that with the RH2 keypad that's built into the Kawai MP7, no comparison. That feels so much better. And as far as everything else, the 2 that have the most highest polyphony at 256 note polyphony, that would be the Casio Privia PX-5S and the Kawai MP7. Now, here's another thing. Besides the general MIDI sound set that I use in a lot of these gigs, I need some other sounds. Car horns, gunshots, birds, recorder, all that other stuff that doesn't come standard with the Kawai MP7 series. The general MIDI sound set does include that, which is built into the Kawai MP7 series. There's a way to get to that. It's not included in the main board, but you can get to that, and I have another video that shows you just how to do that. So that's another important factor, and there's yet another thing. Now, I can put a USB thumb drive, and I can have MP3 or WAV files on it, so if I have a song that requires car horns or something else, or animal sounds or dog barking, or another instrument that's not built into there, I can put that right into there on that MP3, on that USB thumb drive, load that sound, and play it. Just like I can record my performances and all that stuff and play along with it, and just like I've got a drum section that's built into there. I don't use it with the band, but I might be able to use that when I'm practicing alone. So, what it boils down to is my 2 keyboards of choice out of the 6. And even though the Korg Kronos and the Kurzweil Forte are top of the line, it's just too big and too long for me. So my 2 keyboards of choice, I've narrowed it down to 2. The Casio Privia PX-350 and the Kawai MP7. Now there's a difference in weight. They're exactly twice or half of the other. So the Kawai MP7, 48 pounds. The Casio Privia PX-350, 24 pounds. But the Casio is plastic. That's how you get the 24 pounds. The Kawai MP7 is a combination of metal and wood side panels. So it's not going to get damaged no matter what unless it gets hit by a truck or a train. And during the past few gigs, I have been using, out of the six, the most, the Casio Privia PX-350 and the Kawai MP7. And I've got it narrowed down to the point where the Kawai MP7 is just much more useful to me than the Casio. Even though the Casio would do the job for me, the Kawai just makes it an absolute pleasure. The buttons are big, everything's lit up. When you push something, there's a light there on that button so you can see what you're doing. And it's just an absolute pleasure. That keypad, the feel, everything. What you can do with that in terms of layers and splits, and the splits are the easiest of all six of those boards. Real easy. You just specify a split and you just say, okay, this key is the bottom, this key is the top. And that's how you set your split points for all four zones that are built into that. Anyway, I can go deeper and deeper, but I think I'll stop here. So my number one choice will be the Kawai MP7. Number two would be the Casio Privia PX350. If I had roadies and didn't have to worry about setting everything up, it would, and if I didn't have to worry about price, it would be the Korg Chronos or the Kurzweil Forte. And the other two, the Casio Privia PX-5S and the Kurzweil Artis SE, those would be the middle between those others. So, hope this helps you out. Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching.